Out here at Aquinas with head coach Nick Matheny. Nick coming off fourth consecutive conference championship for you guys, and obviously the first ever ambassador championship. Talk a little bit about just what the feel of the season is. Do you guys feel like you're a team that's sort of getting close to that dynasty tag?
Oh man, that's a pretty serious tag. I know this is a lot of tradition, and we talk about tradition a lot here, and I think the biggest thing that we focus on is day to day. As soon as we start slipping, I think that tradition is going to be pulled, that rug will be pulled right out from underneath us. So, dynasty, probably not, definitely not, but I definitely think that there's some tradition here, and these guys, our team is really working hard to uphold that tradition of the past players.
And talking to some of the coaches around the Ambassador League, they're talking about you being a favorite just because of that tradition and the success, and obviously having the amount of skill players that you've got coming back. What's your feel? Do you guys feel like you're a favorite this year?
From the outside looking in, I get it. I get where that would come from. We've had some success in the past, and I don't feel that as if we're the favorite right now. There's a lot of things that go into it. We have a lot of skill players out here, but right now our number one opponent, I believe, is our own inconsistency. I think the team would attest to that as well. We're an inconsistent team right now because of some inexperience in some very key positions. I think, I'm really hoping and pretty sure that will improve over the course of time. But as of right now, it's hard to say we're a favorite for the league championship.
Sure. And, of course, Ray Padilla at quarterback is a kid that really, stepped up as a true freshman for you last year. Obviously, high school, they're all true freshmen. Yeah. But talk a little bit about his effort last year, being a guy that was such a youngster and having such a big impact.
Ray shows up on campus and he doesn't look like your average 14-year-old. We give him a hard time telling him he's a 19-year-old sophomore, which he's not, for the record. But the best thing about Ray is Ray's an extremely hard worker. You just missed him about 10 minutes ago. We're in the weight room, and he's right in there with the second group. He's working out with linemen, he's working out with seniors, and he's an extremely hard-working guy. And like we shared over the phone a couple days ago, he doesn't get tired. I think Ray, we just said this in the team room right now, I think Ray's the most improved player on the team the last 9 days. I think he's definitely the most improved player on the team. Last year it was a little easy on him. He did a lot of turnaround and handing off the ball and didn't throw a pass in a couple games. But this year we expect more from him. And I think he's taken on that challenge head on. It's not easy for anybody. I think that's an extremely hard position to play, especially when we practice running the ball so much, and then all of a sudden now you got to drop back and pass. So I think Ray's doing a good job of accepting the challenge, and he's got a long way to grow. But I think he's taken some big steps in the past, especially the past 9 days.
And for a youngster like that, how nice is it, not only to have that experience from a year ago, but to have a couple of guys to turn and hand the ball to in Bro Handy and Clementich behind them?
It's nice. I would be lying if I said it wasn't. There's a little bit of consistency back there as far as, we're going to reverse, we're going to hand this ball. We know play A or play B. I think the biggest problem with that is trying not to get complacent. Okay, we're going to reverse out, we're going to hand this play off. It worked last year, doesn't mean it's going to work this year. Totally new personnel up front, so it's nice. It's definitely nice to have him back, and we look forward to him growing as far as what he's going to do on the field.
And you mentioned the offensive line is probably your biggest concern heading into the season. Talk about how it's progressing as fall camp kind of rolls around.
We just got out of kind of our camp, and tell you what, those guys, they're a bunch of good kids. We've had a revolving door at weak tackle. We actually just moved our receiver from weak tackle, a receiver to weak tackle and Jay-Z Sandoval, and we're definitely not going to be bigger than anybody else. I think there's a couple guys on there over 200 pounds, but we're down there at 170, and if we can get off the line of scrimmage hard and keep some low pad level, we got a shot to be successful. Maybe not winning games, but going out and playing hard and playing our technique. So I think that's our key point of emphasis, and eliminating stupid penalties like neutral zone infractions and holding penalties, things like that.
Linfield Christian, obviously the big wild card this year with Steve Silberman coming in over there. What's your feel from the rest of the league just outside of that big coaching change?
Well, I know that not to talk about Linfield like you asked me not to, but they have a lot of returning players. They were a young team last year. Arrowhead Christian grew leaps and bounds last year. It might not have shown here in the record or in the scorebook or this or that. They grew by leaps and bounds. They had some, to be honest, we watched the tapes and, man, they're doing some really, really good things. Calvary Chapel, Murrieta Valley, same thing. They had some really outstanding fullback last year, and we're doing some good things up front. As far as Western goes, got to have a lot of excitement. I know they lost a lot of players to graduation, but got to have a lot of excitement. New young coach. I mean, he's I think his wife's an alumni of the school, which I can relate to. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement out there. And Ontario Christian, like I talked to somebody about the other day, just one of those games where you come to that game and you're at, there might only be 400 people there or 300 people, but it's going to be a good, hard-fought game, and that's a huge rivalry. And same thing, they got a lot of returning guys over there, and they're going to have a lot of excitement in a young, new coach that, your first opportunity as head coach, which wasn't that long ago for me, and I know how that first year is. It's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. So.
And we'd mentioned Steve Silkman a little bit at Linfield. Talk about is that a team that's going to be a real fun one, real exciting one to play in this conference this year?
I don't know about fun. It's gonna. All we know is his track record. We know he's won league championships in multiple places. Obviously, the five in a row appearances at Vista and 3 championships in a row. I haven't heard too many of those ever. So I think, do I think they're going to be improved? I think they were good last year. I think they were just young. So I think they're going to be a really, really good football team. They had some linebackers last year that were big and strong when they were sophomores. And we expect them to be really, really good. And I can only imagine, and that's no disrespect to Coach Kimmis. Him and I had a very good rapport. So I expect them to be good. It's going to be interesting to see what they do offensively and defensively. I wasn't in Vista when they were winning those CIF championships, so I can only imagine they're going to have a very dynamic offense and a very fundamentally sound defense. So.
And lastly, if you guys put it together on the offensive side and the defensive side this year, what's a perfect scenario for Aquinas this year?
Whew, man, I don't know. We always start off with a few goals. Number one is to make the playoffs. Number two is to put ourselves in position to play for a league championship. To be honest with you, we're not even going to think outside of anything until we've secured a spot in the playoffs, which I don't think is going to be very easy. And that's no putting down our team. It's not trying to be humble. That's just what I truly believe. I think it's going to be a very hard-fought league, and I think we're going to be, in a dogfight till week 10. So getting to the playoffs is number one and the only goal at this point, as far as besides getting rid of some of the inconsistency that we're dealing with right now.
Sounds good. Coach, we appreciate your time. Wish you all the best of luck this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.